Hey, what is going on, guys? This is Jake at That Fit Friend, and today I'll be reviewing the Nike MC Trainer. So 3 things to like about the MC Trainer is number 1, I think if you are on the market for a budget-friendly Nike training shoe, this is one of the better, if not the best options on the market. This model comes in at a price point of $70 USD, and compared to some of the other budget-friendly training shoes out there from Nike, this model's blend of construction and performance I think is much more well-rounded. In this model, you can train fairly heavy, plus with the outsole tread, you get a nice multi-directional tread to train on, so if you train more in an athletic style and you want a training shoe that costs less than $100 USD for a little bit of everything, the Nike MC Trainer can be a good option to look into. The second thing to like about this model is the outsole and its overall tread patterning. So in this shoe, you have a full rubber outsole, which I personally love for multi-directional work, because in other budget-friendly Nike training shoes, you don't necessarily have that. So for example, in the Legend Essential 2 and in the Renew Retaliation TR3, you have exposed foam on the midsoles, which then creates some lacking arch support and some lack of tread when you're trying to train laterally and doing other activities. Plus, with that exposed midsole foam, you can have that shoe break down a little faster. So in the MC Trainer, I think if you're somebody who likes to train in the gym, maybe do a track workout here and there, and also wear these outside for whether it be daily wear or for some shorter runs, this model can work a little bit better because the outsole will give you a little bit more in regard to performance and durability. The third thing to like about the shoe is the overall breathability of this model. So with this mesh upper here, we do have a nice lightweight breathable upper. So if you want a shoe for training outdoors in the summer, or if you want a model for training in the gym and your gym typically runs hot and your feet typically run hot, this could be a pretty good model to look into due to the breathability. It should keep your foot relatively cool, and honestly for the price point, I feel like this is a pretty good feature for this model. But now let's talk about a couple of cons that I have with the MC Trainer. So 3 potential cons that I could see folks having with the Nike MC Trainer is number 1, its heel construction. So we have a slightly blocky heel in this shoe. This heel juts out a little bit, and so for longer walks and for runs longer than a mile in length, and pretty much any exercise where you might be having the heel strike first, the shoe can feel a little bit uncomfortable. It'd be cool if Nike actually brought this in or decreased the foam amount back here on the heel, or even gave it more of a beveled construction. I think that would make this shoe a little bit more comfortable for different types of training and uses. The second potential con that I could see folks having with this model is that it is pretty stiff when breaking them in. So this model does take a few weeks to get really mobile through the midfoot and heel. Even now, like, my model is pretty dang stiff, and I've worn these for multiple sessions. And so if you're investing in this shoe, do note that the midsole is not the most mobile or maneuverable. So if you do like a high level of maneuverability in your shoes, this model is definitely going to take longer to get there. So expect that when investing in this shoe. My third con with this shoe is just the long-term durability of this model. And honestly, long-term durability is often an issue with more budget-friendly training shoes. But more specifically, I could see 2 areas being problematic for folks. Number 1 is the midfoot construction, and more specifically the lacing system. So we have 4 core eyelets that run up. The third eyelet has these loops here. Honestly, it would be cool to either have more eyelets or reinforced eyelets, because I think that would increase the longevity of the shoe's lacing system. The second area where I could see durability being an issue is down here on the toe. So we have an extended outsole layer that wraps up that covers over the synthetic layer here. Honestly, this is the type of outsole that typically lips if you're doing a lot of toe dragging movements, so just be conscious of the outsole wrap on the toe of the shoe if you're doing a lot of work that involves dragging the toes. But that all being said, honestly, the Nike MC Trainer has been a pretty good shoe, especially for $70 USD. I think if you are balling on a budget and you need a good versatile training shoe, this would be a good model to look into. But now let's talk about the performance of this shoe. When discussing the performance of the Nike MC Trainer, I'm going to break this section into a few different parts. I'm going to talk about lifting, versatile training, shorter runs, and then daily wear. In the context of lifting, I think this shoe performs exactly like what you'd expect from a $70 training shoe. However, I do think the stability is actually a little bit better than other budget-friendly Nike training shoes. For example, you can load this model a little bit heavier and not have to worry about the outsole giving out or the midsole compressing a ton, which I personally like. So if you do want a budget-friendly training shoe for training a little bit heavier, the MC Trainer could be a good option to look into. Plus the outsole tread gives you a nice amount of grip, and the shoe feels pretty athletic. So if you are that person who likes to blend lifting in with athletic style training, this is a good model to look into. For versatile training, I like the shoe overall for 2 key reasons. Number 1, once again, this outsole I think does a pretty good job at giving you a nice level of tread on things like turf, rubber gym floors, or outside on on the track. So if you are somebody who does have a varied setting in regard to where you train, this could be a good option to look into. Plus the outsole does pretty good with multi-directional work, which not every budget-friendly training shoe does, especially training shoes that lack that full rubber outsole. The second reason why I like this shoe for versatile training is just how lightweight and breathable it is. It makes this shoe pretty easy to wear for longer sessions, and with the midsole construction, you get an okay level of pop, especially once this shoe gets broken in. So for $70 USD, I do think the midsole in this model is okay for versatile training, and it shouldn't be limiting in nature in regard to how this midsole interacts with the ground and the floor when you are trying to be explosive and whatnot. When it comes to shorter runs and running, this model is okay. I would say probably limit your running in the shoe to like more sprint work, tempo work, or shorter runs under a half mile. Because we have this blocky heel, it's not really the most comfortable shoe for longer duration runs. Now, if you are primarily a forefoot or midfoot striker, then you could probably get away with using this model for longer runs. But I think for the vast majority of folks out there who want to run in the shoe, they may find that the heel is a little bit off-putting. For daily wear, I like this shoe, but once again, the blocky heel is the limiter here. So I think if you're not bothered by this heel construction, this is a pretty viable option for daily wear. Because it is only $70 USD, you can beat the crap out of this model and not really feel guilty about your investment. So if you do want a shoe for wearing out in the rain or just getting dirty or wearing for like something like yard work and then to go train in, this shoe could be a viable option for that. So as a whole, I do like the Nike MC Trainer's performance. It is what you'd expect for $70 USD. However, I do think it's a little bit better than other budget-friendly training shoes on the market, and that is due to the outsole, midsole, and just overall upper construction in this shoe. So now to answer the question, who should invest in the Nike MC Trainer? So I think if you are on a budget and you're looking for a training shoe for less than $100 USD, this is a pretty good model to explore. Now note, I think this shoe will be best for those who want this model for lifting, some versatile training here and there, some HIIT workouts, but it is not going to be the best for longer runs and even longer walks. Will it work for daily wear? Yes, but again, this blocky heel I think could be pretty off-putting for you. So I would say if you want a budget-friendly training shoe for primarily lifting and versatile training, the MC Trainer is a pretty good option to explore. When it comes to sizing and fit in the Nike MC Trainer, most lifters and athletes should be safe going true to size. Now it's worth noting that this model's toe box is not the widest. It has that like stereotypical, more narrow Nike toe box. So if you do have a wider foot, you might want to size up a half size or look into different training shoe options because this shoe might feel a little bit limiting for your foot's anatomy. When chatting on the price of the Nike MC Trainer, you can expect to pay $70 USD. Now compared to other budget-friendly Nike training shoes and other models around that price point, honestly, I think the MC Trainer is a pretty good shoe to look into. It's fairly stable, has a good amount of versatility, and honestly, it's a good shoe to invest in if you want a model just to kind of beat up on a daily basis. So for $70 USD, I do think this model is worth it, and overall, I do like the construction for that price point. So when chatting on the weight, heel, toe drop, and insole in the Nike MC Trainer, for my size 10 model here, we have a weight of 11.15 or 11.20 ounces. This model is said to have likely a 4mm heel toe drop. It is not disclosed on Nike's site, but that is what the support team told me when I reached out and asked. This model does not feature a removable insole, so if you have a custom orthotic or insert, this may not be the best model for you. There is a light adhesive keeping this model's insole in, but I would say probably pass on this shoe as opposed to trying to rip that out and put your own orthotic in, because the upper in the shoe is also pretty limiting up here through the forefoot. All right, now let's go over the construction of the Nike MC Trainer. Up here on the toe, we have an extended outsole layer that wraps up. Once again, this is a slightly thinner lip than other models that feature wider wraps. So if you're doing a lot of toe dragging work, be very conscious of the durability of this feature because it is prone to lipping, like other shoes that have similar thinner lips up here on the toe. Looking at the toe box itself, we have a synthetic layer here that serves as kind of a toe guard to help lock that forefoot down. Then we have a breathable mesh throughout the midfoot and forefoot in this model. Making our way back here to the heel, we do have some synthetic overlays. This gives the boot a bit more structure and support. Looking at the midfoot, we have 4 core eyelets that wrap up. This third eyelet here is this loop construction, and honestly, I do wish that was reworked. So I wish they would either add 2 additional eyelets here as opposed to using this, or reinforce the eyelets as a whole, because I could see that being problematic long-term for some folks. Looking at the tongue, it is pretty thick and perforated in nature. It is not gusseted. We do have 2 loops here on the tongue, so it doesn't slide around a ton, but there is a little bit of slide with the shoe if you're not tightening them enough. Looking at the midsole construction, we have a medium density foam midsole that extends the entirety of the shoe. We do have a little bit of lateral and medial support with this model's midsole. So it isn't like something like the Nike Legend Essential 2 that lacks that feature. So I do like that about the MC Trainer in regard to giving a little bit more support for the foot if that is something you need. Looking at the outsole, we have a full rubber outsole. We do have a nice multi-directional tread here. It's like this zigzag texture up here. We do have some forefoot grooves here to give the shoe a bit more maneuverability, but again, the shoe is pretty dang stiff when breaking them in due to this thicker foam and rubber midsole and outsole. Looking at the insole, once again, this model's insole does not come out. It is in there with an adhesive, so while you can technically take it out if you want to put your own orthotics or inserts in, I would say probably pass on this model or look for something that's a bit more accommodating for your footwear needs. But as a whole, that pretty much wraps up this shoe's construction. It's fairly simplistic in nature, and if you have any additional questions on the MC Trainer's construction, drop a comment down below. All right, guys, that wraps up this review of the Nike MC Trainer. Honestly, for $70 USD, I think if you're trying to save as much as possible, this is a good model to look into. The full extended rubber outsole and the overall stability of the shoe is pretty good for its price. If you have any additional questions on the MC Trainer, drop a comment down below or reach out to me personally, whichever you prefer. And as always, guys, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.